Hi, good morning. It's Jeff here at stockideas.org, and today I want to do a quick book review of The Best Trading System by Chris Beanie. How to make big stock market returns in the long run as a trader or investor. As you can see, this book is only about 20-30 pages. It's pretty quick. I think I read it in about 90 minutes. And then I read it the next day in about 60 minutes. And I've read it a couple times since then. And this book, presents, as simple as it is, it presents a pretty interesting idea. It's not necessarily a new idea. The main gist of it is sort of the techno-fundamentalism that Nicholas Darvis describes in his book, How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market. But this is a little bit more of a modern take and zeroes in a little bit more on that idea. Whereas in Darvis's book, he only dedicates a brief chapter to it as something he explored. Now, I don't want to give it all away, but the thesis is just pretty much that, there's a dichotomy that exists between traders and investors. You're either in it for the day or the day trade or the swing trade with a short-term perspective, or you're buying and holding for the rest of your life. And Chris Beanie, kind of challenges that assumption and says, I'm an investor. I want to only own fundamental companies or companies that appeal to me fundamentally and that, I believe will prosper over the next 5, 10, or 20 years. But I also realize that the markets are inefficient at times, that there are technical analysis is a real thing. Stocks don't go up in a straight line. They might move up 5%, then down 2%, then up 1%, then down 3%, then up 7%, then down 2%. And she proposes that you can take advantage of these fluctuations in the stock market and in stock prices, and that you can day trade or swing trade your investments. Do you follow? It's a cool idea. I read this book before I had heard of Nicholas Darvis, so this was my first introduction to the techno-fundamentalism, as they call it. And, it kind of resonated with me. I think it makes sense. I'm somewhere between a long-term investor and a swing trader. I do kind of think that, buy and hold is a little bit irresponsible. Stocks go up and eventually they become overvalued. And if you're still holding them forever, hoping that they're going to continue to go up forever, that's not necessarily prudent financial management. That said, I do a bit of day trading, but it's not my bread and butter. I don't love to just watch stocks all day and try to scalp a penny here and there. So I actually found this book, although it's like super simple, and again, only about 30 pages, it really kind of opened my eyes a little bit. It presented me with a new way to look at investing, that you can be a long-term investor primarily who's only looking for fundamentally sound companies with a big margin of safety or whatever your investment criteria may be, dividend yield, etc. But that, there is opportunity to defensively trade, to compound your gains and lock in some profits, So if you have a stock and, you're really positive on it in the long term, and for some reason, there's a technical pattern, the stock breaks out and goes up 15% in one day, and there's not really any news, it's just like a price action thing, this book would propose that in that instance, you'd be wise to take some profits off the table. And then, when the stock pulls in, say it goes up 10%, comes down 3% or 4%, then you can reinvest and really compound your gains. So in that sense, this book, the Best Trading System by Chris Beanie, I think she's at Beanie1 on Twitter, and it's only like $5. It's a cheap book. It's not overpriced, I'll tell you that. But it's kind of a cool way to think about how you can compound your returns by taking advantage of the fact that stocks fluctuate a little bit irrationally sometimes and don't always go up 0.25% a day. If that were the case, this book wouldn't work. But as um, technical trading is a real thing in the short term, and um, it can present opportunities for profits above and beyond what you would get with just simple buy and hold. Now, the one thing I'd say about this book is that it goes into a lot more detail than I've said here, but it really does focus on the theory of this techno fundamentalist approach. I think the people that have been disappointed with this book, if you look at the Amazon reviews, some people are really happy about it, and then some people are a bit disappointed because it doesn't talk that much about the specific trading part of it. It just sort of lays out the framework intellectually of what you should do, but it doesn't say. I mean, there's a little bit of talk about MACD and moving averages and what time frames to look at on charts, but largely the book leaves that up to you to figure out based on your own investing style, based on your preferences, etc. So if you're looking for how to day trade or how to swing trade, this book is not for you. It doesn't cover that. It's definitely outside the scope of this book. But if you're looking for some intellectual theories, kind of like frameworks to approach investing decision making, then the best trading system is, I think something of interest and something worth checking out. Again, it's like $5. It takes 90 minutes to read, if that. So it's a really low commitment purchase. And, I've gone back to it a couple times and made notes in it. And there are some good like nuggets of wisdom in here. And, if you haven't really thought about how you can pair, long-term investing with trading and defensive profit taking, I think this book is worth checking out. So for a more in-depth review, I suggest you just click the link below this video and click through to stockideas.org. There's a little bit more about, this specific book and a link to some reviews on Amazon that you'll find interesting. So thanks very much for watching. I do recommend the best trading system, especially for novice investors who are trying to find their investing style. For day trading pros and swing trading pros and investors that have been in the biz a long time, this might be a bit of a redux. You might have be a bit redundant for you, but especially for beginners, I think it's definitely an interesting thought exercise. So click through below to stockideas.org to learn a little bit more. And thanks for watching.